Ryan Cullen here, special guest on this week's episode of Sloss and Humphreys on the Road. I forgot the name of the podcast for a split second there. But we will be chatting about Andrew Tate, the Catholic Church, obviously, because what else can I chat about where I'm from? And I think the F word most of the time, and not F-U-C-K. So please, if you want to listen to more, you can come on to the Patreon. It's about £3 a month, and you can get more and more episodes. Enjoy.
Sloss and Humphreys on the road.
Muggins and cream and muggins, straight thuggin', living the dream.
That's our intro.
Fucking muggles.
Tickling the clit inside your head that makes you laugh. They said it can't be done.
Are we in the same seats?
That's hack.
Ah, muggles.
Accidental rim job in the park.
Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Or am I just being cynical?
Muggled it up on fucking Mugglepedia.
Where have you been since 9/11?
We are here on our...
Nope.
Go on, you do the intro then.
Yes.
We're here on the Sloss and Humphreys on the Road public podcast with guest Ryan Cullen. Do the Ryan Cullen song.
You say public podcast?
Yeah, this is going out to everybody.
Oh, I understood. There's a difference between public and Patreon. Got it.
I didn't even know what the Ryan Cullen song was.
No, I didn't expect you to. I was hoping that you would.
Is that one?
Is it?
Baldy! It is.
It's more of a rap.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hi, thanks for coming back on from
Over
30
there.
feet away from where we live.
He lives over there, listeners. He lives like a short walk over that way.
Nah.
In the basement.
Yeah.
It's like the slave quarters, isn't it, back in the old house?
There is a pub right outside your room.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is
What slaves were like, yeah, I live
You treat me like shit.
I live in the broom shed of the Queen's Arms.
we can spin the narrative to whatever suits us. We can be like, you've got like a silver spoon in your mouth, you live, they've got a bar there, or we can spin it that like you're in your mate's basement, like in amongst all the mould.
I did that with
And we just choose which lane.
I did that with Tom Houghton the last day. Remember, he was like, "Oh, I got moved into my new place in Willsborough." And I was like, whatever much a fucking month he's paying. And I was like, "Oh God,
£2 a month.
how the other half live?" And then I was like, "Anyway, Daniel, make sure the hot tub's hot up." Complete nonsense.
We'll just sit in our own hypocrisy. As long as you can insult your mates, it doesn't matter if you hit yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's the standard thing. It's fine if I do it, and it's sacrilege if anyone else does.
It's like loading a gun and just shooting you through my own head.
It's these headphones that are shit. Just kept worrying that his mic was cutting out and my mic was cutting out, but in fact,
I could see you. I did worry. You were like, oh. No.
Well, we've just got to a stage in this podcast now where it's been 7-8 years and it's now genuinely inexcusable for there to be any like tech faults. Like if I was listening to this podcast and there was cutting out the audio, I'd be like, guys, I've been a Patreon for a year.
Yeah.
Like I've come and seen you live a bunch of times. I know how much money you spend on drugs. Is there any chance you can throw some of that fucking cashish to the content you can create so I can consume it properly? No.
We will try and act like the professionals that you deserve.
Yeah. And if you want to see the much higher quality version of this podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon. It's the exact same.
We'll get better guests.
We get better guests.
Yeah, they really do.
We did. We had Obama on the last one.
How's he better?
Yeah. What's he done that I've not?
Ryan, tell me how
We're gonna all
you're
fly a drone.
tell me how you're better than Barack Obama.
I don't want to say the obvious one.
Yeah.
Well, that's me
The
done.
drone strikes. He meant the drone strikes.
Well, there's the one clip that can't go out.
Yeah. Well, I don't think. Do we do many clips from the Patreon anyway?
We do all the clips from every episode.
Oh, do we?
Full clips
That
from
doesn't
everywhere.
feel right. I feel like the Patreon stuff should still. Or is it like that thing of like?
clips, like look what you could get.
Oh, okay. But it's
like-
not the most like horrible shit we say.
It's like when the stripper sets do next year.
Nope.
Some of that clothes on. And do you want to see this fully bare naked?
I'd be like, no, thank
We
you.
do that. We're prick these cunts.
You always get those people that say, by the way, that like Obama's way worse than Trump ever was. Do you ever see that? Because he technically did twice as many drone strikes.
Shot schools and that.
Aye. Well, but it's also because like they were like, oh, he was doing a war or whatever, and they were like, well, yeah, but Trump had the one in his own country. He started indoors.
Aye. You just.
He was setting off fireworks in his house.
Yeah.
Yeah. He pulled out of Afghanistan and then.
There's no point in droning your neighbour.
hey. Especially, no. If you are going to drone your neighbour, you do have to watch the weather that morning just to see if any of the saran gas will get blown into your country. That's the big. Oh, we can't bomb them today. It's an eastward wind.
You could accidentally make yourself Belarus.
What did Belarus do?
They're the ones badly affected by Chernobyl, aren't they? Even though it's in Ukraine.
Oh,
it's all blue that way.
Did not know that. There you go.
I thought there was some cut and satire about recent events, and that I was just going to like blow over my head.
I can't trust anything I say now because you both laughed.
Yeah, man.
We're kind of a guests, man.
Yeah, we just laugh at whatever jokes.
I was howling at Gareth the other day. I didn't understand a word that comes.
There was a video that, you've both seen it because I shared it in the group, but it was that one of the, you know how like obviously what's going on in Russia at the moment is that they're just getting like fucking better than Nazi grade propaganda. Like Goebbels fucking invented propaganda, and the Russians are at this point where we've got fucking TV where we can just have all of our experts stand in a room and yelling, and it's on their version of fucking BBC, so all their boomers watch it and are like, oh, okay, we're saving the Jews in Ukraine. This is great. And sometimes I just watch it because it's sometimes interesting to watch propaganda and just go, because you just get, how the fuck does this affect people? Like, how can you fucking watch this and just go, yeah? Like, how can you sit and watch Piers Morgan just ramble on and just go, I'm going to apply no further critical thinking to this. It's so handy that there's just a TV channel that just has my opinion on it ready for me to fucking consume.
And it's like you don't even need to spoon it into your own mouth because they're digging the aeroplane for you.
Aye. And you're like, once this airplane's done in my mouth, can you go bomb some more Ukrainian kids? Because I love the Jews! I love the Jews, and there's heaps of Jews in Ukraine, and the Ukrainians are against the Jews. That's what the guy said. It's what the guy said. So we're getting rid of the Ukrainian Nazis by acting like Nazis. It makes perfect sense to me. Can I have some more borscht, please?
So what was the clip?
The clip was apparently England had said something, or Boris Johnson had said something about, we're going to give these arms to Ukraine, which, by the way...
They'd clipped him saying hasta la vista baby onto him pressing a button.
Yeah. And they were like, look at this monster. I got to say, I think, obviously, the war in Ukraine is shit. Although the response from the rest of the world has been good in the sense that it's like, hey, this is awful, we're going to support you in every way I can. You're going to fight for us? No. But we'll give you all of our guns.
Against Russia? You mad?
But it's that. But like, are you guys going to fight Russia? We've wanted to fight Russia for ages. Will you help? In a way.
Have you seen the meme where it's like Gimli going, you can have my axe, and then Legolas going, you can have my bow, and then just the Ukrainian just walking off with the axe and the bow and the sword.
It really is that. We're like, go beat up the bigger guy because we can't, because then they'll kill us, and we're not used to them killing us. But they've been killing you for 2 months now. So by this point, surely you guys, you get it. You're cool, right?
I love that.
Right? Sorry, you've got no fist.
They're like, it's going to fuck up the whole NATO thing if we get involved. I'm like, it's already fucked up. That's what the war was.
Aye. So this fucking Russian guy was angry about what Boris Johnson or someone said, and he's like, how fucking dare these people when we've got the nuclear capacity to wipe them off the face of the fucking earth, and that's what we should do. We should wipe England off the face of the earth. And I'm like, you know what? These Russians.
Man.
He said England, but he didn't say Britain.
Well, so I'm sitting laughing at that. I'd be like, that's a funny, horrible take to have. I'll definitely pretend that's my opinion for a bit just to get a reaction. And then one of them goes, what about Scotland? And the guy goes, oh no, Scotland's cool. We'll be fine in Scotland. I'm like, oh God, maybe I do really like these Russians.
Yeah, you actually were checking the wind.
I reckon Ireland would sell themselves into being Belarus for that outcome.
Well, I mean, the problem is all of the nuclear weapons that the UK has is 40 miles outside of Glasgow. Like it's Helensburgh. That's where all the shit is. So if Russia were to bomb us, which they won't do, they're absolutely hitting Scotland first.
That's going to be a frightening.
Yeah, because that's what England did. Would you be like, can you hold some of our guns for us? Sure. You get any down there? What's with the questions, Scotland? What's with the questions? We're giving you all the nukes. Don't you want to be defended? Yeah, no, real great. Thanks so much.
Also, you've got all the resources up there, the oil and that. Can you just mine that and just pack it in here? and hold one nukes. And then as soon as war starts, it's like, yeah, you seen them cunts while they're oil and nukes.
Have you seen the movie Braveheart? They don't listen to authority at all. I reckon you shut them up dead fucking quick.
So this guy was on TV going, oh, you should nuke England and all that, and then you've got cunts in comedy going, you can't say anything anymore. You literally can't say anything. There's a bloke been on telly in Russia just threatening to nuke people.
Newsline
Well,
unleashed.
to be fair, you actually can't say anything in Russia. That's what annoys me when you get people in this country in America being like, you can't say anything anymore. You're like, comedians in India are taken off stage and thrown in jail and never seen again. Like, Russians disappear when they say certain things. That is not being allowed to say anything anymore. You just don't like the fact that you cannot say the N or the P word anymore. That's it. That's all you want to say.
I did actually just think, what the hell's the P word for a second? I do, yeah, but I genuinely ran past
Piss.
Presbyterian?
Don't get me wrong, I've definitely said,
Protestant.
for those that don't know,
Pneumonia?
it's the shortened version of Pakistani, Paki, and the reason it's obviously offensive is because for generations, British people would call anyone of any brown colour Pakistani, even though they weren't Pakistani. So it's definitely, what again we discussed on the last podcast, one of those words that's not inherently offensive, but because of the way bastards use it, is now an offensive fucking
It's been
term.
said so many times with a furrowed brow.
Aye. But I mean, that is just what they want to say. Some people just don't want to give up words, and I do get it, because I really wish faggot was not such an offensive term, because linguistically and acoustically it's such a satisfying word. Like, really is a curse. Like, it starts off, it's the f, that's a soft fa, and then you got g, that's kind of hard, and then ot is hard, like faggot. It's if you were to remove the word from all of its previous connotations, right, and be able to fully separate yourself from it, it's a really good word to say, and as a curse is really good. But the problem is, it comes from, we used to burn gay people alive. So you just can't.
Just call them maggots.
Oh, maybe.
Just call them.
I was about to say,
call
it
them
doesn't
maggots,
sound
it
as
doesn't have
good.
the
No, it's
connotation.
good because and f, because like f is
It's nice.
yeah, isn't it?
It's never nice.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, how did you enjoy your meal? How did you enjoy your meal? Yeah, it'd be like, oh, muck off. You're like, oh, all right, Flanders.
Landers.
Flanders.
God.
Sorry for using the word faggot in context.
Retard's the other one. That used to be big.
And retards, again, another, just if you take the two syllables, you've got the rrr, it's a rolling start, it gets you into it. Who doesn't love a rolled R?
Aye.
And then
The engine starts.
Aye. And then there's another R into the D, retard. Again, it's one of those words that you can just, from the way it's phrased, you can put vitriol into it, which I imagine is one of the many reasons why these words become so fucking hate-filled compared to other ones. Which is weird. I know I've brought this up before. It's so weird that we just allow Jew to be an insult.
Aye.
Like, it's that's, you know, I just find that
It could even like be used as like a prefix to like something like a Jew wife.
yeah. And it's such it's gross the way it's used. Anyway.
Dave Longley's gonna love this episode if he does listen to it. He is fucking
so funny.
He is killing me so fucking hard. We've just as a catch up to a previous episode, we've been putting clips out on social media. Like, we knew we should for a long time. We finally started doing it, and Dave Longley hasn't missed a single clip criticising the language used, the things that we're talking about, the subject matter, and he does it in such a Karen way that it gets bites from it. Are you going to talk me through it? Can you give us a blow by blow?
He's just commented again. He is the greatest fisherman of all time. He's just fucking sat there at the side of the Instagram lake. He's just casually fly fishing, cigarette in his mouth, no trousers on, just fucking catching fish.
Fishing with arrogance.
like-
And he's going to get a bite.
He does it well because it's always like the third one is the joke for you. So the first two, even though they're not, they're subtle, they can go either way, and then
he's very good at the layers, and because you anger people, and then because they're angry, you can then act more insane because they're already heightened and they've reduced you so much in their head that when you start saying clearly stupid things with like, but he said all these other things, it's like you're Hanseling and Greteling people towards hating you more and more. So
can I just enjoy Hanseling and Greteling?
Hansel and Greteling. Hanseling and Greteling would be incorrect.
I was enjoying it.
Okay.
It wasn't a critique.
So this is the clip we posted up about religion today. Dave Longley. Disgusting. Wall-to-wall profanity and a disregard for all the Judeo-Christian culture has done for us. If it weren't for Christ, we'd all still be in caves murdering babies for sustenance and indulging in the most disgusting of sexual acts with members of the same sex. To which I replied, so you don't have a baby murdering cave? And Dave Longley went, I have shares in Planned Parenthood, if that's what you mean. And then somebody has bitten, a fish has come in and talking about obviously all the wars that Christianity's caused and whatever. Dave Longley's reply, literally the world wouldn't. Genghis Khan didn't need a religion. Humans murder and Christianity helps save us from this continuing. The only downside is the child sex thing, but I think that's a small price to pay for a better world.
Collateral damage.
And somebody went, do you mean the priest fucking should have went, that is what I meant, yes.
Somebody accused him of having an opinion while being a cis male.
Yeah.
And but like capital letter CIS, and he was just like, "What is my favourite murder mystery got to do with this?
What does my favourite police drama have to do with any of this? Forensic police work."
Cis Miami.
It's the funniest.
Cis Miami.
Big fan of the old Miami CSIs.
Really? Seriously? How many football matches or boxing fights have been won because of God? Who is the first person they thank? Oscars? And Christ doesn't uplift? Bake yourself some pie, add a dash of humility, and get yourself a big spork and a bib.
He's killing it. Because the first few, he didn't even reply to the comments. He was just putting it in, dropping it, walking away, getting on with his day. But now he's just fucking rolling his sleeves up, honey, and he's just like, right, I'm taking this all on.
Have you ever seen if you follow The Rock on Instagram, right? Obviously The Rock lives in a fucking massive mansion, but he's a big fisherman, The Rock, right? He's got entire lakes in his back garden where he breeds his own fucking salmon and catches them. And occasionally there's just a video of him catching a fish, bringing it out, kissing it, telling you what the fish is, and throwing it back into the ocean. That is Dave Longley on Instagram for me.
Just holding a troll.
I hope he's up for the Fringe because we have to get him back on the podcast on a Patreon episode sometime soon.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, there's old ones in the Podbean archive that could probably come back and haunt from when we had him on.
Mind that one that we did during the pandemic. We did just an audio of the podcast with Dave Longley, and for the entire time on Zoom he had a Make America Great hat on again and never explained it.
So I don't know if you ever heard the podcast Dave Longley did, because it was called what was it called? Arguing for the Sake of Arguing, where his friend Eddie who's from Blackburn or Bolton or something.
Newcastle manager.
But his parents are Chinese. His parents are Chinese, right? And the guy's got like a thick northwestern accent. Oh. And one day he couldn't make it. So the intro of the podcast was an answer phone message from Eddie Hu. And his thick northern accent saying, I cannot be on the podcast this week. And then the podcast just proceeds anyway with the phone ringing like it always does. And Dave Longley puts on a fake Chinese accent, really thick Chinese accent.
I have seen this.
Hello, Longley. Right? And Dave Longley's like, hi, Eddie. And does a 45-minute podcast with himself back and forward with...
And having really in-depth arguments about comedy, and like Dave will say something lovely and succinct and then just do an impression of his friend Eddie being like, it doesn't make a rick a sense wrong, right? Like this
he does like in-depth analysis about like women in comedy and representation and shit like that, but like back and forward being racist.
That's so
being racist to his best friend.
That's brilliant, because I think about 38 minutes and you'd be starting to laugh more. You're like, how is he still going?
I was locked into it. Very funny. And I think he's actually, because that podcast, he discontinued. I don't think he's continued doing it. No. But he's actually put in the title and description, this is the one that Sloss and Humphreys recommended.
Oh, is it?
So if people go looking for the podcast, they've literally titled it this because we've mentioned it before.
Just if people feel uncomfortable about any of the jokes in that and how Eddie might feel about those things, Eddie doesn't give a shit. One year he was trying to work out the name for his Fringe show, right? And Dave Longley was obviously giving him heaps of horrific fucking answers, but it was actually Rich Massara who gave him the one that he eventually used, and it was called the Razy Lacist.
That's excellent. Who's that good? The guy that has the Fringe poster this year with the "Stop Drawing Dicks" on my poster.
I'll find him. He fucking deserves it.
Jimmy Sousa.
He does. Yeah, I'll get his name because
The show title is "Stop Drawing Dicks on My Poster."
Yeah. And it's him with his hand withholding nothing, but it's perfect.
Mouth open, just like
so good.
Plenty of opportunity to put dicks on the poster.
That's one you're like, oh, that'll sell tickets alone. Just
Jamie D'Souza, we'll give him a shout. What a good fucking poster that is. So funny. And also, it's like that year that fucking
Cutting the Gang had sticker dicks.
Yeah. Sticker.
And, our agent got Al Karen about it.
Aye, she did.
And I like I did like not argue with him, but I was like chatting to a couple of like Dan Willis and that people that were playing at the same venue, and I was like, but people have paid for them posters and paid for the space, and then you rip them off, it just destroys your poster. Yeah. So there is a little bit of like you're vandalising people's like money. I was a bit on Marlena's side with it, but you know, looking back now, like very funny thing to do. Yeah, we're still talking about that 12 years later.
Yeah.
It was good PR.
And man, also like this job, especially in fucking comedy, in the 90s, it was rock and roll fucking anarchy, right? And there's still a bit there, which is, fuck the system, fuck the corporate fucking side of thing of putting posters up everywhere. Like, absolutely, at the time I was angry because there was a dick on my fucking head. But in retrospect, you're like, man, that's the spirit of the fucking Fringe right there. That's what it is, which is, look, we're all just stupid artists up here doing our own thing. And everyone gets fucking pearl clutchy about, I want people to take my poster seriously. You're a fucking comic. You're a fucking comedian. Take a dick on your head. Take a fucking dick on your head. You're a comic. You can't have a fucking dick on your head.
You're a clown. You're a clown. Why are you acting like you've got dignity?
You reckon Richard Pryor never had a fucking dick on his head? You reckon George Carlin was above having a dick on his head?
I reckon he was.
Maybe.
Depends who drew it.
Aye. Depends what kind of dick too.
Aye.
Would you prefer?
That'd be what you mean, like it's tiny.
Well, yeah.
If
you had a real dick on your head, like it was just a birth defect, would you rather it was a big dick or a smaller one, and why?
Smaller one,
yeah,
because it feels like it would be
less noticeable.
You could pass it off as a defect.
Yeah.
More rather go, don't look at my wee dickhead. Don't look at my wee dickhead, so we mistake. Where's the other thing? It's a trunk.
When you get it pierced.
That's Albert.
I know a lot.
I don't think you'd want a smaller one, because my worry if I had a small dick on my head is people being like,
does it quite match the
whereas
is that a rabbi about to do both?
And if you got an erection, a little unicorn with your friends.
Oh, imagine you're just like chatting lass up and like you just start like she starts getting a bit like tactile with you and handsy and all that, and you just start getting an erection on your head.
It'd be great if only one could go, the other one goes down.
I've only enough blood for one of them, love.
You're gonna have to suck my forehead. So daft. Would you think you would get it circumcised? Because I figure, look.
You know what? That is a good point, actually. Yeah, maybe.
Would you manscape it? Like if I had a fucking mole or a spot that had hair coming out of it, I'd trim that for sure. Like, so it's no different if you've got like
it's no different than a huge dick on your head.
But you're not gonna just have loads of hairs poking out of it, are you?
Aye. Oh, you definitely. I would probably take better care of this one than I would of my actual one.
That's your display dick. That's your fucking. That's the trainer that they put on the front of JD Sports. Then the guy in the back to get the other one.
Yeah.
You pretend that you're bigger. Can I get a size 10? You're 9, sir.
Every girl that I go on a date with is so excited to get home and have sex with me because they've seen the dick on my forehead, and then it's just the difference between McDonald's adverts and McDonald's reality. I'm like, there's not even 2 patties on this shit.
God, yeah, I think if you wore a hat as well, like a little hat, and someone talked to you, but you're trying to hide it, and it got erect, and it would come up. Look like
that would be great, though.
Yeah,
you'd be woman's so hot that she blew your hat off.
You could self-hatch catch him.
Aye.
I've met a man who has got a tattoo of a penis on his penis.
Is it bigger?
Squatty.
How do you make it bigger?
What, like the girl he's dating is whoever the road Wile E. Coyote and he's the road runner. I'll just draw an extra couple of inches and she'll not notice.
I can remember Penny Crayon. I was too young for that. She used to draw things and then that would come to reality. It was a kid's cartoon. I reckon after hours when she wasn't doing kids TV, she was drawing loads of dildos.
Aye. Just dildos, not fully functioning boobies.
I don't know if she can make stuff sentient. I can't remember the cartoon that well. Maybe she could just bring stuff to life. She like draws a friend and it's like, what am I?
Drawness, play hangman for the love of God. Free me from this eternal misery.
You probably couldn't hang them because they don't have, like, you'd have to start drawing the neck as well. You have to
to
die.
So we're on an absolute different fucking timeline for cartoons. I can't just sit with you two and have like nostalgia
right.
of my childhood.
Yeah, you did actually say there, like, oh, and that Fringe was 12 years ago. I was just like, I wasn't even doing comedy 12 years ago. Just funny when you said it. I noticed it. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's right. Saying that, though, you're the same age and you were, but you would have been like fucking teen.
Yeah. Started dead.
Did you watch then Biker Mice from Mars?
Yeah, that was that. You know what?
That was a big one that might have.
Wasn't like I didn't really watch it that often, but I was aware that was a cartoon then.
Do you remember Street Sharks?
I do just remember the generation where people who were making kids TV shows, like clearly it was just the time when networks were like, just go do a cartoon for the kids, and then and nobody looked over them because they just started them to make these shows. All of these shows were clearly written by people that were either on mushrooms at the time or stoned the entire time.
Yeah.
You just watch.
It was class
Magic
rated cartoon because you could just stay out. Can you remember Rude Dog and the Dweebs?
Rude Dog and the Dweebs? No. I feel like you made that right up out of your head.
He's trying to put Rude Dog in the Dweebs.
Most people are like Ren and Stimpy. You're a fucking...
Rude Dog?
Show me.
He was like, he had like a fucking convertible. He was cool as fuck, dog.
He was a cool as fuck, well, he better be.
But he was really cool to the other dogs that were...
In the mood to be rude.
He was real cool, was he, Ken?
Molly and us got our fucking accounts on Facebook.
She did that like to me. I was like, why did you shove mine?
She doesn't have yours. Our agent's got our login, and she obviously can like put up a poster for my Fringe show and give it a blurb, and then sponsor it and it'll advertise. And I always find it a bit weird because it looks like I'm talking about myself in third person. Like Kai Humphries, multi-award winning comedian, but it's like, hey, as admin writing it, and I'm always a little bit like, that should have just done something a bit more personal and push it. But you know what, you're producing my show, you know what you're doing. She'd done one for the live podcast. We'll have a live podcast, by the way, 20th of August 2022. And Molly and I put out a post from your account and saying live, and in brackets, and very rude. As you would come to the podcast live and very rude.
God.
And I really wanted to troll and laugh about it and very rude because she put up one where like she'd clearly not paid to get a poster done because you're getting one done, and she just used rudimentary Photoshop to put the details on a picture of you, and I was like trolling, going, oh, where did you get your designer and all that? Can you put it knowing that you'll never see this conversation?
I've never.
But
I do my own Instagram and that's it. Just everything else is, I'm better than Facebook, so that's why I'm not on that. And then with like Twitter, I just get sucked into it. It makes me sad because it's mostly like political and the worst cunts. And then with TikTok, I'm just like, it's just it's just a giant world. Well, the thing that scares me about TikTok is the algorithm on it is so good, so unbelievably good at working out what you're into. Like if you hesitate by like an extra 0.2 seconds on a video, the algorithm will go, right, what did he see there that he likes? Right, that's also these videos. So it's just designed to just keep you in your fucking phone, and I just don't need that.
It's your algorithm and Andrew Tate. It's just nothing but Andrew Tate.
I don't know who that is. Is that on TikTok?
Jesus. Hustler University.
He's an ex kickboxer who had he won't admit this, but a horrific childhood. A horrific childhood. I don't know what his dad did to him, but it was most likely beat 7 shades of shit out of him and his brother and his mother because of just the way he is. And his whole fucking thing. He is worse, and I mean infinitely worse than the people from the pickup artists from the game,
the Neil Strauss, and,
way worse because it's
mystery.
It's not even like, oh, we're gonna trick women into sleeping with us by negging them and making feel. His is just women are fucking. Women are inferior and men are this, and it's this big boo boo boo. So obviously gets all these big fucking loser men who are like, yeah, fucking women's places are in the fucking kitchen. You fucking tell them to whatever.
Incel Catnip.
Yeah, exactly that. So that's what Andrew fucking Tate is, and he's been on the fucking Tom Segura Your Mum's House podcast, which is a big strike against Tom Segura for me. Like, if you've got a fucking platform, use it fucking responsibly. Joe Rogan is a fucking wanker for having Alex Jones on the podcast. You're a fucking wanker for having him on the fucking podcast. Do not give scum a platform.
He went and
anyway, Colin, when's your show?
So me and Andrew Tate are doing a live. But I saw him watching a video. I'm fascinated by the guy. Like, not in a good way. As in, like, I don't obviously
I'm
like
fascinated.
fucking goddamn Andrew Tate, but you're seeing.
And you want to see him get arrested in his comeuppance.
But I can't help waiting that extra few seconds, and it's fucked the whole algorithm because, like, I saw him saying that you're a pussy if you die of a heart attack, and went on like a 2-minute bit, and I was like, you don't really have a. He's like, just get up and get on with it, and I was like, that's not what I.
That's funny if
Have a banana.
That's funny if it's a bit though. Like if that's
exactly.
That's the jokes we do is. Wouldn't it be funny if this was my horrible opinion? So I'm going to, with my tongue firmly in my cheek, pretend to have this opinion, and the joke is people that have this opinion are awful. He's just, this sells to people that don't have girlfriends and therefore don't have to buy their girlfriends or wives any presents, so they've got all this extra money lying around because no woman will date them and they'll give it to me. He's got one of those fucking Ponzi schemes where it's like, oh, the only way to become a true fucking millionaire like me and my friends is to pay $200 a month to join our club, and we'll tell you what the secret to becoming a millionaire is.
It's 36 quid to join Hustlers University.
Is that what it's called?
He runs cam girls in Romania. He doesn't go back to the UK because I'm pretty sure he'll get fucking arrested on site. He's in specifically in Romania just because you can do worse things there and fucking get away with it. If there's any justice in the world, which there very rarely is, in the next 10 years we'll see him go down for something.
And you're saying that when I walk the algorithm on TikTok, you get fed his videos. He's mastered it.
But he's already kind of like. He doesn't even have a podcast, he doesn't have a TikTok account himself or anything, but people just clip everything he says because it's so clippable, it's so horrible.
And that'll be because in the Dave Longley way that he's commenting on our shit and it's causing all these arguments and rows and everything.
Oh, yeah, nothing but.
That's actually fucking spinning the wheels on ours. Are people posting his shit knowing that everyone's going to fight in the comments?
Oh, yeah.
And then that flies, so somebody's just there going, well, I'm going to get millions more views on TikTok if I post this cunt shit.
Yeah. So there's thousands of Andrew Tate.
Facebook the other day came out and admitted, because when people make these fucking algorithms, they don't fully know what the algorithms do, because the algorithms learn themselves and they teach themselves things, and it's not like you can say to the computer, what did you just fucking learn? It can analyze things over and over again, and it's not until years later that they can sort of deconstruct the code and look at what it's done and be like, oh fuck, that's where it went wrong. And they were like, the Facebook algorithm, all it did was it was meant to bring people together, but it just taught people that controversial opinions were good, because controversial opinions were always the one that went straight to the top. Think about what fucking Twitter was. You never got people that were just saying normal things, right? That would never get to the front page, would never fucking get retweeted. But any controversial shit, because people,
anything that's divisive.
Yeah, and it's the outrage and the outrage of outrage. And as I've said before, the outrage of outrage is always infinitely more than the initial fucking
outrage squared.
Because
I only go on TikTok to see how well the clips are doing, which you don't even post. It's your brother's posted for you, but I'll get on and just see how they're doing, right? And before you can even go to your account, I get whatever it feeds us. So the only TikToks I ever see is when I open the app. As a 39-year-old man on Facebook, it thinks what I want to see is lush lasses dancing. So it's when you start TikTok, I think it's just across the board. Any lush
lad
lasses dancing.
It took about 3 weeks before the algorithm kind of like started feeding it out. Obviously, it still keeps it bitten, but now it's Andrew Tate, Bukayo Saka, and the odd woman dancing. But at the start, it was just nothing but like absolutely. They were like, that's probably the best one that everyone's.
But I've only went from that opening thing to googling you, searching you, and then clicking on your account to see how it's doing. And I opened my account today, and it was a lassie who maybe has like cerebral palsy or something dancing. So I don't know what the fuck happened where guys he likes lasses dancing and people with disabilities. let's give them both. I'm looking at this algorithm going, what's happening here? And I'm looking at the last guy. Good for you, look. Good for you, getting loose. I don't know what goes on.
Aye. See, we are all in our house on our phones heaps, right? And I do constantly get worried that, you know, Caelan will see us on our phone. He doesn't know what a fucking phone is, but he'll see us looking at our phone. And I say to Cara, I'm like, do you ever get nervous about how much we're on our phones? And she's like, definitely. There will be a point where I think we just have to reduce it and we have to move it to the other room to make sure he doesn't see it. Because at the moment he doesn't know it. He just knows that we look at this little thing. But the weird thing is, the only thing we ever show Caelan on a screen, the only thing, is just videos or pictures of himself. Just because, like, he now recognises himself, so when he sees himself in videos, he finds it funny, right? He laughs. He's like, "Oh, that's fucking me," and I'm just like, does this cunt think that all me and Cara do all day is just stare at videos?
It's Plato's cave. It's Plato's fucking cave. I walk in, right, and I'm just replying to Natalie, right. And he looks at me going, "Cuz watching videos of me," because that's what that device does.
I'm here. I'm right here. Can I talk to me? I'm better than the real thing. 2 seconds. Just looking at a couple more cute videos of you, but I'm right here.
Your son's just going to think that he should be on TV too. That's what's going on.
I always wondered, you know how you get like your school photos and stuff, and like all the way through your house is just pictures of you up in the house. I often wondered how much that psychologically affects you into thinking that you're like the centre of the universe. Because you are the centre of the universe in your own house, but the only person I know, other than children, who have pictures of themselves up around the house is Kim Jong-un. Dictators. Dictators are the only people with pictures of themselves up.
If anyone was watching
To the people on audio, most of you, Matthew, our producer, just pointed the poster of me up in the background.
Well, the thing I was...
Nobody draw a picture of a penis on it. I have self-respect.
Yeah, I mean, you are asking people to draw. Yours is already drawn on, so you are.
You got
and I hate to use this phrase, but you are kind of asking for it. If anyone was watching the video of the podcast, feel free to look back at that clip when Kai's talking about there's only 2 types of people that have pictures of themselves around their house, and watch the fear in my eyes as I'm 90% certain he's about to mention me. I was just in my head, I was like, in what room do I have pictures of myself? I know there's one in the snook.
Daniel, look at my hoodie. I've got a cartoon of me and you and Mario.
No, we're bad.
Which you could also have.
Oh yeah, plug the fucking merch that we've got.
Stretch. Just have a look at our link tree and our socials.
We put me and Cara put Cullen in an uncomfortable situation last night when we were watching.
Sleep out.
Well, if it wasn't comfortable, why did he fall asleep? We were watching Love Is Land. And one of the dweebs on it was one of them just went, "Oh, you with your missus, you're definitely punching, right?" And he took it so personally. He was like, "I'm definitely not punching," and she was like,
"Oh
well,
yes."
She was like, "Well, you are," but he was really put off by it, got really fucking angry, and I mean, he's a deeply insecure person anyway, and this just fucking. But it got us into the conversation when I went to Cara. I'm like, do you think I'm punching? And she was like, "No." Do you think I'm punching? I was like, "No, I think looks wise, we're pretty much like I don't think that you're infinitely more beautiful than me. I don't think we're out of each other's leagues there." Cullen.
So I must have started like kind of heard it decide. Next thing I got fucked into this Cara going, "Well, I'm the personable one."
Oh, that was it. Yeah. So it was on looks wise. We agreed we were average, but I went.
Her best dish is way better than you on your best.
Yes, aye. But if we're going,
but if you're just chilling.
I love the way you're starting to get angry again now. Oh, hold on, I get to you. Look, from.
Well, my thing was punching. No, neither of us are punching looks wise. But with my tongue of the cheek, I was like, "You are absolutely punching personality-wise. Like, don't get me wrong, Cara, you're class. You're 10 out of 10. I just happen to be one of the 11s. Like, that's the world that you're living in.
I think for like 1 hour a day, you're an 11, and it's the podcast or it's when you're on stage.
That's what.
But for the other 23 hours, she's a 10, and you're fucking low 4.
This was her argument. She was like,
average that out, mate.
She was like, I'm more personable. She's like, if we meet somebody out that you don't know, you won't engage with them or talk to them. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna fucking try and press someone that's not my friend.
It's either that or you invite them to the wedding.
No, that's just yours and Cara's bit, because Cara wants a wedding with 9 people there, and I'd like.
No, Daniel chats to like an Uber driver for like 1 minute. If he actually gets into that, next thing he just starts going like, "Oh, we're best of friends." I'm like, "Well, this is fucking weird."
I would have had it that she wanted the bigger guest list and you wanted the smaller guest list.
Bigger.
Oh wow, because I thought you like less people the better, just because of this.
Well, no, because for me it's like for me what the wedding is it's a big party for all of your friends and family to come round, meet each other, and get drunk and celebrate the fact that you're in love with each other, and because it's like I want it to be a day where there's people who have throughout my life been involved in parts. We've been friends, really good friends. We might have fucking, drifted apart, but I still want them at like the evening thing. And like Cara's thing is, she's like, you've not seen these people in 3 years. I'm like, there's been a pandemic for 3 years. Yeah, that doesn't fucking count.
And I'm in a job where like you can gang years without seeing each other. It doesn't mean that is to.
And I get her side of things, because man, if she didn't speak to one of her friends for 2 years, they'd probably never fucking speak again. But with this,
yeah, because I had a 80 cap because it was on location. It was in it was overseas. Aye. So I couldn't invite people just to the evening do. So I had to have 80, and it was one of them things where I had like my group of close friends, comedians, but then I also had like a bunch of comedians who I fucking love hanging out with and seeing. But I felt like if I invite one of those guys, that
another 10 in.
Is another minimum. It's like when you unlock an extra circle of friendship, it's just bigger than the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, my thing, and I keep saying this to Cara, she's like, if we invite these people, we have to invite those people. I'm like, that's not how it works. We invite whoever we want, and if anyone who doesn't get invited to the wedding has a fucking attitude about not being invited to the wedding, that's why they weren't invited to the wedding. Like if
the Mardy,
little Ali, my fucking best friend of 20 years now, because he got married during lockdown, because that was the only time they could do it. I didn't get to go to the wedding. Right? They had room for 10 people. It was obviously her family, his family, and the fucking thing. Not for a second, not even for the briefest millisecond did it ever cross my mind to be like, oh, I wasn't one of the 10. I want to make the cut. Did I? Fuck off, my best friend got married. That's the happy fucking thing.
I thought it was family.
Plus, you have to invite like people that have to be there. Like if you were having a wedding and you wanted only people you wanted to be there, like you wouldn't have your parents there. Well, maybe you, Brady Bunch, but
yeah. Cullen's impression of my family, because Cullen was raised.
They're all hugging each other and telling each other they love them and stuff. It's deeply uncomfortable. Parents are supportive. It's weird.
Does your dad tell you he loves you?
Aye, yeah. At the end of a phone call and all that.
Yeah. Did he do it growing up?
You know what? I think he got a lot more when my granddad died. I think he got a lot more like saying I love you and cuddling, because I think he wished he did it more with his dad.
Aye.
I think.
Aye.
So I think like his was more. I remember it more as an adult than I did as a kid. He was very.
Well, my dad knows nothing but death, and it still never turned him around to it. Never once. I don't think he's ever said that to me. Ever. My mother maybe 2 or 3 times.
Have you heard him say I love you to your mum?
God, no. God, I've never even heard him just love in general. Just I love this cup of tea.
Have you seen him kiss her, hug her?
Like once ever.
Aye.
Like once ever, and I caught them in the kitchen. I was like, what the fuck? What's going on in here? A peck in the cheek. I was like,
hitting them with a broom, just turning the fucking hose on them.
Never hugged in my life, unless I don't even think we hugged at his ma's funeral. I think we just skipped it.
You've never hugged your dad?
Nah.
Jesus. How do you mean escalated?
We had this. Gareth was along my type of side as well.
Aye. Oh, Gareth's dad's is
Is it Catholicism?
What?
I don't think Gareth's dad's Christian.
Is it the church?
Oh, but you're like, oh, you get it enough.
Yeah, just the common denominator. Is it both Celts?
I suppose, maybe. Catholic guilt.
I do
Catholic guilt from hugging your dad. I wish I didn't get a twitch on my forehead.
I do think that, it's definitely like a generational thing. Not to say that there weren't people in previous generations who didn't say I love you to their kids, but I would be interested if there was any data, because I reckon it's increased exponentially in the last 30 years.
Do you think it's because hugging between two men? Because
they've
got dated opinions on
No.
homosexuality?
I mean fathers being able to say I love you to their sons, and being able to be like emotional and loving with their sons, as opposed to I've got to raise a man who's strong because this is a cruel world.
They might end up going to war. They can't be.
Eugene Field on both ends there.
He's looking at his work going, I don't know where I went wrong here. I was trying to make a man forged in steel. And I made this sickly Robin Aaron style character.
Does your mum say she loves you?
Rarely, very rarely. But I feel like that's happened a few times, but never in a phone call. It would need to be some.
Do you think that's because she's been saying it?
When 9/11 happened, that's the last.
This is so good. I love you.
I love you too. We did it all after the slow clap ended. Oh, you see, you think it's a Catholic thing? That means have you any of you done confessions then?
No.
That's so funny.
Have you done confessions?
Oh God, yeah, everyone did for like years. You pop in there and go, right, Father, what do you have for me? What have you done? No, but.
So you just go in there, and how brazen were you?
Never. You lied. So you lied to him, which was the one thing you're not supposed to do.
And then
Dear Father, I've lied.
It's quicker.
Yeah. So
tell a lie, confess about lying, do the one Hail Mary for lying.
When they're judging it, and you're always like, where do you? I don't know, because you get extra prayers for worse things you do, but it was always the same shit. Like I was swearing. And I was bad to my mum, and I lied. And then you just, even if you hadn't even done them, you were saying that. Even if you had never sworn, you're like, you're just saying it like that.
Which is an extra sin, because now you're lying to God.
And he'd be what? He's got you strapped up to the lie detector. Like, that's a lie. 45 Hail Marys, you piece of shit, off your cut. Heart rate spike there.
He watched you look up and left.
All right, I joined Boko Haram. What do you want from me? Well, that's 5 Hail Marys.
Did you ever confess to masturbating?
No, that's not.
Hold on, I'll reword this. Did you ever get into a booth with a grown-ass man as a teenager and tell him you wanked?
Well, just the bus driver. That would mean I'd have to get into the little thing with him.
Well, yeah. And open the door for him. I masturbate. Get out of here.
It's still 180. Still 180. And unless I hear tinkling, you're not getting on.
Take your ticket.
No, you wouldn't. That's not really a thing. I know it is a thing, but you would never. I feel like it maybe. You've thrown me off now.
Do you think you should go back and just...
I've got so much to tell.
You've got so many Hail Marys. You're such a wanker.
Just take out a scroll. I've got a log.
It must be one of the most disheartening things in the world that's definitely happened, but none of us will ever know, which is just somebody gets into like a confessional booth and it's like, God, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. It was my mother's birthday yesterday, and my dad spent all this time making her a cake, and it was her favourite type of cake, and as a family we ate most of it, and there was one slice left, and he's like, that's for your mum in the morning. And I'm going to be honest, Father, I woke up at 3 a.m, I was having some nightmares and went downstairs to get myself a glass of milk, and the cake was just there, and so I ate it. I ate the chocolate cake, and I feel so bad, and you just hear, fucking pussies, man. You're just going in there, and he's like, barely even a fucking sin. You would have got in more trouble had you fed the chocolate cake to a dog, you cunt.
That's not even a sin at Weight Watchers, that.
Or just every time you confess your sins, you just hear, oh, please, could you just a couple of Hail Marys and get out? I've had 3 drug dealers in here today and a violent criminal. It's been fucking class. Me and the lads have been talking about it, and you come in with your, I had a wank in the bathroom, you fucking loser.
Thinking you're a story topper.
Have you ever had like a cool priest? That was always a big one.
Have I ever? I've never had a priest, Cullen.
Guys, you haven't lived.
I've got no history of priests.
What's a cool priest? One that taps you on the head when he's about to come.
Just let you know, son. Make you wear the collar.
The dog collar.
We had one called, it wasn't even my local priest, it was my grandmother's, and they all loved him because he was younger. That was first of all the thing, but he was all against.
After shave.
So basically, what happened was, it's very funny. He eventually left the priesthood because he was like all the priests I know, they're all banging kids. Is essentially what his thing was, and he was like, I'm out. This is fucking horrific. I can't follow the whatever. I'll just be religious or whatever. And all the old people hated him for that. You know, like the old. They're like, how could you turn your back on God? And I'm like, I feel like he was doing. You know, I feel like he was on Jesus' side in this one.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. At 70, we need to just start indiscriminately breaking necks.
Okay.
Like, we just got to start. Too many people live for too long, and it needs to stop.
Make them do Wipeout.
We'll start when you turn 70, Cullen. We'll make them do Wipeout. Total Wipeout while they're at the most fragile.
What if I call it Catholicism?
That would be a good way to do it.
Aye. Game show it. Japanese
Yeah.
are probably doing it already.
Do one of them ones.
Total Wipeout is the show. We just all over 70s have to go and Total Wipeout, right? And there's just no safety team there.
Aye.
So that's it. And if you get to the end,
over
hey,
water.
guess who's there? Your grandkids. Yeah,
Aye.
but you can still fucking drown in the water.
But like no ankle weights.
Aye, it's just like,
be
but
great.
I can't go over the ball. You're like, all right, well then you've lived your life, really, haven't you? What else are you gonna do?
The water's only 1 inch deep and it's concrete off the big ball things.
What are you gonna do with the rest of
all you're doing though is filtering out the really capable old people with bad opinions.
Aye.
So you're getting them through and going, Harry, you can still fend for yourself.
Yeah. well, no, I just think survival of the fittest at that point. Just
Do you know? I'm just trying to think. Do you not have death notices then on the radio?
what?
Like a
What,
rundown of
fucking Scott Mills?
like a rundown.
Just
Yeah.
Scott Mills just
Yeah,
writing
yeah.
off everybody that
Like
Like
a
a
died.
list of dead cunts today.
Yeah, list of who's dead in the local area.
No.
That's so funny. That's a real Irish thing. I know Alison Spittle had a bit about it that was really famous, but basically they had death notices in Ireland. So you go onto the radio and you'd be like, I wonder if any relatives have died. You might get the jump on. Like sometimes they wait a day before telling you, like, oh, your uncle's gone there, but we're just getting shit together. She'd be listening. You'd listen in every day at like 10 o'clock for like a rundown of the local area of like the top 78
Did it do
remains will be taken on Friday.
Did you ever hear a name that like you fucking knew and you're like, whoa? Sorry,
Nelson
I
and
made you drive there. Hold on, let me put you on your bike. You're like, whoa.
the bike with the radio on it.
Colin was born in rural Ireland. He had a bike stereo. Don't act like you didn't.
Had the Walkman. Yeah.
Boombox.
No, they didn't do celebrities, if that's what you're asking. Or do you mean like
No,
just,
I mean, have you been like, and then like you found out like your auntie had died off the radio? Like is someone.
the fucking problem is, like, around my area, everyone has the same, like, second names and
everyone-
shit. So they're like, they'll be like, oh, Mary McGinley's dead. And I'm like, Mom. And I'd be like, there's about 50. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mary McGinley, 57, died today. Oh, what's mum? 56? Oh,
Oh, God,
that'll just be one of her sisters then.
1 minute. It's her birthday. Aye, so we had death notices.
you tried to fucking tell me that pies was an English thing. I went
It's-
to Ireland and I was like hungover and I was like, what do you want to eat? And I was like, I don't know, like a pie or something. And you're like,
Nobody eats pies.
You're like,
now.
that's a strictly English thing. And I'm like, they've definitely got like pie face in Australia.
Aye, but
American
that
pie
doesn't
is
count.
about a pie.
no,
On the
different pie.
cartoons,
Different
It's
pie.
about you
different pie.
living freely.
On the cartoons, when they put a pie out to fucking
Different
cool
pie.
down, the fucking animal like floats on the smell of it to eat it.
Yeah, yeah.
Pies are global, man.
No,
You can fuck
no,
off with.
you're taking in fruit pies there, and that's not. No,
I'm not
that's
saying apple tarts.
Yeah, that's a
Do we all
home
have
baked.
apple
We're
tarts?
talking about Scotch pies or the base little fucking
Mince
circle
pie.
with different
The mince
fillings
pie.
in it. That pie thing is UK, and they
So you
definitely do it
think
in Australia.
Australians have just been Anglophiles then? Can it be
Well,
right?
what? I'm sorry. Do you think one of the colonies is being part of the colonies?
So you're saying like pie is our pizza? And
Aye.
if you have pizza in Australia, that's because they're just doing a very Italian thing. But then again, pizza's global, so it defeats the point of the
Aye,
argument immediately.
But pie, no. What I'm saying is,
just say the origin.
Australia is Britain light, just hotter. Like they've got the Queen on the money.
Yeah.
like they're part.
Commonwealth.
They love British culture. Yeah, it's the Commonwealth. That's
You
what I
could-
meant, not
I would
colonies.
say you could go into a fucking supermarket and you could find a mince pie, like, or something, but or a steak pie,
Macaroni
but
pies.
not-
If you say macaroni pie in America or Europe.
Yeah,
Or
to the podcast listeners, you are all over the place. I see you signing up on Patreon with all your different currencies.
Aye.
You're all over the place. Do you eat pie?
And we're not talking fruit, homemade pies, plum pies, cherry pies, apple pies, any of that.
Steak and kidney pie.
Steak pie, steak and ale pie,
Mostly
a
like
Cornish
the ones that you
pasty.
Cornish
Meat-
pasties,
meat and potato.
pasties, right? Because you know, like the ones you get in the vans. We don't have Greg's and all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? At all. So, but I reckon they'll come though, because Weatherspoons made its first little.
Oh, really?
There's a Weatherspoons in Dublin
that's
now.
a fucking big fucking like that's like a Brexity institution.
It
That
is,
as well,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Right, there's one in Dublin now. And there was a lot of uproar, and then in like 2 weeks later, it's pretty cheap though.
Yeah, well,
That is
that's how you
Dublin.
get
That's
people
one thing,
round.
that fucking absolute pillock fucking bumming around with these political opinions from Weatherspoons was like, as much as I fucking hated him, it was not enough to stop me going into a place where the food is cheaper than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. Like, you shouldn't be able to sell me an egg for 7 pence since it costs 10 pence in the shop. Like, what have you done?
Who's delivering this?
It's wild, and they were way ahead of the game. We're just ordering at the table on the app and it's just appearing at your table.
Well, because they had filthy scumming before COVID was a thing. They were like, just limit contact with these punters.
Touch your punters, whatever you do.
No music, so you have nothing but your thoughts, so you'll drink more.
I need sport.
Aye. What's that about? That's
No
it.
frills.
Speaking of your dad, Cullen,
Oh god, shit.
your dad got stung at the spelling bee.
Enjoyed that.
Daniel, your dad bought a t-shirt that said "Life's a bitch" and then you marry one, and he gave it to your mum to wear.
That is a bitch move.
Kai, your dad said Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror before the barman said over here.
Kai, when your dad pours a Guinness, the white bit is at the bottom, so he uses a straw.
Colin, your dad put both of his feet in one Veruca sock so he could swim like a mermaid at the local bath.
And now he's got a veruca on both feet.
Dad,
Dad, Kai.
Daniel, your dad sleepwalks so much and he keeps waking up in your bed, and it's hard to explain because you live in different countries.
Cullen, your dad gets a tattoo of the title every time he finishes reading a book, which is why he has 96 tattoos of the word Mein Kampf on his back, being drawn on a blackboard by Bart Simpson.
Daniel, your dad went for a full body massage and asked for a sad ending, so he ended up tossing off the masseuse.
Kai, your dad won Employee of the Month, but he's a prostitute.
Then why can't he pay his maintenance?
Cullen, your dad's childhood crush was the Hamburglar.
Danny, your dad goes through the car wash on the roof rack.
Kai, your dad left everything in his will to Millwall Football Club.
The worst one as well. Just, bastards from top to bottom. Kai, before your dad farts, he licks his finger. Not just to check the direction of the wind, but also to help the little guy out. Come on, little buddy, don't be shy. Come on.
Coaxes it. Colin, when your dad's playing Pass the Parcel, he always adds a layer of wrapping paper when it stops at him because he doesn't want the moment to end.
Kai, your dad's ashes are still by the fireplace where he fell in.
Just never removed. Just smouldering for 2
feet.
Just
two
dusted
shoes.
it into an end. Well, Colin, plug your Fringe show, please, and let people come to it.
Oh, okay. I'm doing a Fringe in the Stand Comedy Club, Venue 2. Not the
Yes.
same one as you. But the best way I always keep saying it is, like, if you're doing your show, you can do Gareth's show, your show, and my show all in a row.
There you go. Come to the Fringe for one day.
Just go into the stand. You don't have to go fucking anywhere. It's on at 8 o'clock. It's called Caveat Emptor, which is Latin for no refunds.
So the order would be Gareth, then you.
It's just so it like gets more.
Aye, and it's all at the stand. There's a bar there. There's fucking food in the area, so you can have a good day watching all three.
Class. I'll see you all at the Fringe, and I'll see everybody who subscribes on Patreon on Thursday.